Hello again, and thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Philly Dips, and today we're going to be having another tale from the table because it's Wednesday. But so today we're going to be talking about board games. How odd is that? For a series called Tales from the Table that I actually introduced as being a series about more than just role playing games, we've not done a lot of diversion from role playing games. So today I decided to crack open that shell nut walnut and talk about something that I think is probably one of the best, a really big selling point for me in board games. This is, if a game has this, it's likely that I'll enjoy it, or at least play it more than once. And that mechanic is, drumroll please, you already know because you read the title, but it's game scenarios. And game scenarios, I don't know, it's kind of stretched. Game scenarios are prominent in a lot of, not more recent games, but like a lot of what is called Ameritrash, which I may have talked about before. But basically, Ameritrash is a board game. Well, a piece of Ameritrash is a board game that is made in America that aspires to be like the classic Euro games and the really good ones. But they can't come up with good game mechanics, so they make all these big, glossy games like with huge boxes and bajillions of dice and fancy components and cut out miniatures. And a lot of them are, as the name implies, trash. But some of them are good. A prime example of this is Last Night on Earth, which we played in the episode of Roll With It that was the bad one. Uh, but I still love that game, and even though that wasn't a very good video, it's still something that you should definitely look into buying if you don't have it already. And one of the cool things about that game is that it is scenario-based. And what does that mean, you may be wondering? Well, scenario-based games are games that have where the goal of the game is different every time you play it. There are different scenarios that do not change the game mechanics very much, but they change your end goal. And these are usually in more thematic games, and they sort of just add to the replay value of a game. And the reason I bring up Last Night on Earth is because Last Night on Earth has, as part of their Ameritrash touch, these delicious game scenario cards. As you can see, game scenario cards. And there are 5 of them, and they're on these beautiful, sturdy, yet very, very glossy. I mean, look at that. It's just dripping with, I don't know what you call that, but the material. But yeah, so you have, such exciting, B horror movie tropes as burn 'em out, escape in the truck, defend the mansion house, or manor house, yeah. I'm reading these backwards because I use the front-facing camera because we don't have a budget here. Die zombies die, and save the townsfolk. You just sort of, they can sort of, based on the what it says and sort of the flavor text and the pictures, you can sort of infer what kind of game you're going to be playing. And this is especially appropriate for games like Last Night on Earth and Betrayal at House on the Hill, the RPG in a box kind of thing, that need that extra touch of, the extra splash of flavor in there, and sort of the idea that the game won't be the same every time you play it because it's going to be a different episode or a different film in the series, and things like that. They help for immersion. But they're not just in Ameritrash games. You'll find, even in games that through the ages, you can play different scenarios or starting variations, or you can start in different ages of the game. Sorry, different ages of the game, and it just creates a sort of variation in games. And the best part of these games, like Dead of Winter and XCOM, the board game. I have a lot of games that have scenarios, and even Star Wars X-Wing. Every time you buy an expansion pack or a new ship, it'll come with a booklet full of different scenarios, and you'll have all these extra components that don't do anything in the base game, but they're good for a component for only that one scenario. And this begs the question of, or the topic of creating your own scenarios, because that is totally something that you have the freedom to do with games like these. Last Night on Earth, hang on, I'll show you. Last Night on Earth has all these different tokens that have no purpose in game, but they tend to intrigue you when you're going through the box and punching the tokens out. It has a tractor, these tokens for various townsfolk that have cards in the game, but the cards never have mentioned anything about these little tokens. These nice little kind of numbered tiles. So there's a 1, there's a 4. Like kind of props, like there's the book here, and there's the skull also, and the biocanister, and things like that are actually express designed for not only additional expansions that might come out, but also for you to use your creativity and come up with a scenario. Because of all the games that I mentioned so far, aside from maybe like Betrayal, House on the Hill, Last Man on Earth is the most scenario-driven game in my library, because you can't play a game without plugging in a scenario. So it encourages you to, maybe come up with some rules for driving the tractor, or maybe the heroes have to find the book and find the skull, and maybe get one of these other guys to perform a ritual to banish the zombies back to the underworld. And it really gets your creative gears turning, these kinds of things, which I love. I want to see more of this kind of thing. I can understand some games like Small World and like Forbidden Island, fine. Maybe there's not enough, very much scenario variation in there, but big, huge, epic games that sort of make this grand story on your table that you'll be talking about for days and days. Scenarios are a fantastic way to tie that off, and that's why I love scenario-based games. Yeah, so game developers, if you're listening, if you send me a game that's scenario-based, I'll definitely review it. Yeah, that's it. Short, fast video today, because we're on low resources here at Philly Dip's headquarters. So, but yeah, I will see you on Saturday with a review. I actually mean it this time. There will be a review on Saturday of Coup, and it's going to be pretty radical. The script is done, and it's just a matter of filming and editing. And that, I'll see you around as I pack up these components back into their box.